Hello everyone, this is Nele speaking for the Curly Hair Project, and today I will be giving you a tip about how to help your child with Asperger Syndrome getting dressed. We receive a lot of comments and feedback that it's very difficult for a child who has Asperger Syndrome to put their clothes on in the right order. So sometimes you will see that they will put the sweater on first and then the t-shirt on top of that, and they just mix their clothes and don't really understand which clothes they need to put on first. I want to illustrate this with a real life example from one of my foster brothers who has ASD. At first, when he was with my parents, he had severe issues putting on his clothes in the right order. So when my mom was not able to stack them properly, underwear on top, because that's the first thing he's going to put on, then his t-shirt, then his pants and his socks, and etc. and so forth. It could have happened that she would accidentally, because moms have to think of everything, put the underwear at the bottom of the pile, and so he'd put everything else on and underwear as the last thing because it was at the bottom of the pile. So he looked ridiculous wearing his pants with his underwear on top of his pants, not realizing that this was not okay. So you can get really upset about that kind of behavior. And we get a lot of questions like, why is this? Why do children with ASD actually do this? You have to understand that the world around people with Asperger syndrome is very, very overwhelming. We have to think about everything, we see everything, we hear everything. And having to put on our clothes is a very intimidating extra factor if you're a child, because you haven't really learned the routine of how to put your clothes on. You don't really know yet what is socially acceptable and what isn't. And this learning pattern can take quite a while for some children, longer than for other children. So they can get very confused by what to put on first and why it's not okay to wear your sweater first and your t-shirt on top of that, for example. So I'm going to give you a few tips on what can be helpful for parents to aid their children into not only putting on their clothes in the right order, but also on how to teach them to do it themselves. There are quite a good few things that you can do that are not that very difficult. It will take some work at first, but once you get the hang of it, it might be very easy, and it will be very helpful for you and the child, and the frustration levels will drop. Now, the first thing is to put the clothes ready in stacks. If you have a younger child, this can be extremely helpful. Now, I know this is time-consuming because when you're a mom or you're a dad and you have a child or more than one child, and you have a household and you have a job, it gets very tedious, it gets very tedious. But it does help your child to see what they need to put on first. And if you keep at it long enough, this will become a routine, and they will know my underwear has to be on top of the stack, because otherwise the routine is messed up, and that's not okay. So this is what my mom would always do for my foster brother with ASD, and it worked. However, you have to keep in mind, of course, that when you yourself feel stressed out as a parent and you don't really know, or you feel off, you're sick, and you mess up in the stack and the routine isn't built in yet, that it can lead to some hilarious outcomes, such as putting underwear on top of pants, for example. What also helps is when you make those stacks the night before or the morning, is to have your child assist you. Pick out the clothes for them if you must, if you feel the need to, if you don't feel like your child is able to. And then just go with them, like, what do we need to put on first? Underwear. So we put that there. Then what do we need to put on? And just make that a routine as well. You know, if you keep that up for a couple of weeks, your child will know instinctively, like, I need to do this and this and this before I can do that and that and that. It takes time for children with Asperger syndrome or with autism in general. It takes time for people to learn that kind of new routine. What may seem very simple to you is quite overwhelming for us, because we already have so much input on a daily basis, so much sensory input, so many questions going about in our heads, that learning a new routine can be tedious and can take very long. What you can always use as well, if you feel like the stacks aren't working for you, is pictograms or pictures. With pictograms, you can start with, you can even take pictures of your own child when they're not wearing anything, when they're wearing underwear, a top on top of that, t-shirt, and so forth and so on, and put them in the right order with numbers or with the way of sequencing that you like and your children like. This helps too. The thing with that is that children with Asperger syndrome are quite literal thinkers. So if you have a daughter, for example, and you've placed a picture with her wearing pants and you put a skirt ready for the next day, this might lead to issues, because on the picture she sees pants and on her dressing table or the chair she sees you've put a skirt ready. So she might be a bit confused about that. I've adapted this way a bit. And this will take some homework, if you will, for the parents, is that you construct or you make a picture, you classify it. It can be random, it can be a gender neutral picture of a child, and you have like 6 or 7 steps. So you just classify 6 or 7 of those children. You add Velcro, and you cut out pieces of clothing. You classify them as well. You put Velcro on the back of it. So each and every day you can just follow the steps with the child. Let them take the underwear, the plastified picture of underwear, put the Velcro, with the Velcro on the first step, and you just go step by step. If the child is wearing skirt, you can put a plastified version of the skirt with the Velcro and put it on step number 6, and have the child put it on step number 6. And that way you can switch clothing, and the child will see, I'm wearing different style of clothing tomorrow, and I put it there myself. So that might be helpful as well, but it takes a bit more handiwork to be able to do it. However, you can do it together with your child, and you interact with your child, and you have your child with you to take to go through the steps of the process of the clothing and putting the clothing on. Well, those were my steps and my tips. I will go through them really quickly. So first of all, make stacks of clothing, make sure they're all in the right order, and involve your child to help you with it. Pictures, pictograms, but do keep in mind that when you do switch sets of clothing from dress style clothing or pants or skirts, that your child might feel upset because it's not on the picture themselves. And plastified steps with pics of children, to which you can add the clothing that they will wear tomorrow. It takes a lot of work, but it will be very clear and very specific steps for the child to follow. So these were my steps on how to help your child get dressed and teach them what the proper order is for the clothes to put on. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions, you can always contact us at the Curly Hair webpage or our Facebook page. Like this video, share this video, and we'll see you all very soon again with more tips for raising your child with Asperger syndrome. I hope you all have a very wonderful day. Bye.